Rockstar Gang, what up? What up? Appreciate you guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. As you come on in, make sure you pound that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on new content. And also, go ahead and get in the chat. Tell me where everybody's watching from, where you're from, wherever you are from. All right? Whether you're from Charlotte, North Carolina to Melbourne, Australia to Spain, Barcelona, Spain to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Just put in where you're from in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about, man. This hire of Darrell Bevell is it's a very interesting hire. All right, it's a very interesting hire. If you've already seen my short about it, tonight I just felt like that this is big because this is a very quiet coaching. This is a very quiet coaching move by the Panthers because we talked about it all off season. We were already talking about it after the whole Dave Canales ordeal. Like, are they going to go out here and are they going to sign a play caller, right? Like, are they going to go out? Is Carolina going to go get a true play caller? That's been a lot of the question marks, right? Let me share my screen. So this is in my opinion, this is we'll dive more into it, but it's an interesting hire. I'm not going to say I think it's a solid hire. I did say that. I don't think it's like this massive hire. Not yet, at least. Like I can't sit here and say this is a massive hire or it's a golden hire. I can't put my finger on that and say, oh yeah, this was just this is a Super Bowl hire. Again, the thing is like it's not like Carolina went out here and blew up the whole coaching staff. Right? You know, we're not chasing flashy names. We're not reinventing the wheel, right? We're not reinventing ourselves for the third time in 5 years, right? Like they just made this feels like a very calculated move, like a low noise move that does matter more than I think the headlines are putting out there. I do think that, us at on the surface, it's just another experienced assistant joining the building. I think in reality, it's a signal that head coach Dave Canales understands exactly where he needs help, and isn't too proud to get it, which I think is great. Now, people I think don't really realize this. All right, I don't think people really realize this, that assistants matter more than what you think. Assistants like these types of moves matter more than what people think. All right. Let's get to the comments real quick. What's up, SC Panthers boy? What's up, Rolly? We got SC Panthers boy saying he's watching from West Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, again, guys, sound the comments. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, hit that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button. What's up, June? Is he going to be the OC? I wasn't tapped in. We just got started, June. So don't worry about it. We're going to dive more into him. I'm going to really dive into this guy. I'm really going to dive into his background. I'm really going to tell you what he can bring to the table, what this does for Dave Canales, what this does for this offense, what this does for Bryce Young. We're going to be talking all about that tonight. All right, Anthony Brown, what's good? Miss Douglas, how are you, sweetheart? I hope all is well. But again, so back to what I was saying. This hire, again, matters more than what fans like to admit. Because here's the thing. In today's NFL, head coaches don't succeed alone. Coordinators and senior assistants often determine whether a team sustains success or flames out, right? Like if you go, think about it this way. Go look at the Philadelphia Eagles over the past several seasons, okay? they have had elite coordinator play. That has been their biggest difference between contention and collapse. Now, of course, also there in Philadelphia, Howie Roseman, their GM, has absolutely killed it from the standpoint of drafting very well, and seems to be keeping the numbers when it comes to contracts. He does pretty well with that as well. So, excuse me, guys, if I cough. My allergies are killing me because this weather can't make up its mind. Because 1 minute it's snowing outside and it's 33 degrees, and then I step outside around noon and it's 75 degrees outside. So my allergies are just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But anyways, so in today's NFL, head coaches don't succeed alone. They just don't. All right. But here's the thing. We've already believed in their defensive setup with Ejiro, obviously. They kept him around. They extended him even last year after the worst performance in Carolina Panthers history and NFL history from a defensive standpoint. Offensively, it's been more complicated because Dave Canales calls plays himself. All right. And offensive coordinator Brad Idzik, while he's trusted, is essentially just his right-hand man rather than an independent schematic driver, right? He's not out there calling plays. That setup has worked well enough to win the NFC South reach, okay? The playoffs. But good enough isn't how teams stay relevant in January. All right? Carolina knows that. And that's why they went and got Darrell Bevell. That's the thing. We were set up. The setup has worked well in the NFC to win the NFC South where we're at right now and reach the playoffs. But we are not good enough. We weren't good enough to move past that. Good enough is not how you stay relevant in January. It's just not. We know that. And that's why they went out and got this guy. All right. Trizzy, what's good? My Carolina family in the chat. How's everyone doing tonight? Again, appreciate everyone. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Sound off where you're coming from. Sound off in the chat where you are watching from. I would greatly appreciate it. Finally, someone's who's gonna call Dave out as bullshit when he makes a crazy call. Well, we'll talk more about that here in a second, Jadarius. So he joins the staff. He's the associated head coach, offensive specialist. This is the only notable coaching change the team has made, which is tells you it wasn't reactionary, it was intentional. But Bevell isn't a gamble, or he's not like a project guy. He is one of the most experienced offensive minds in the NFL. I'm going to give you a nice little resume here real quick. So here is a nice little resume of Darrell Bevell, assistant quarterback coach through 2000 to 2002 Green Bay. Coach Brett Favre. That tells you that right there. All right. Super Bowl champion. That's some good news. As a quarterback, but think about it this way. You look at all the teams. Okay. You look at all the teams. He's coached Brett Favre in Green Bay, Minnesota. He's coached Russell Wilson in Seattle, Matthew Stafford in Detroit, and Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. So, again, the guy's a Super Bowl champion. He's had five playoff appearances. He's won 3 NFC West titles, and he's won 1 Super Bowl championship. But he's coached under a lot of guys. He's learned from a lot of guys. Mike Sherman, Brad Childress, Pete Carroll, Matt Patricia, Mike McDaniel. That kind of exposure matters. All right. That kind of exposure matters when it comes to talking about this guy. Just does. Like, because this wasn't just some random hire, chat. Dave Canales and Darrell Bevell go way back. When Canales began his NFL coaching career with the Seahawks in 2010 as a wide receiver coach, from 2011 to 2017, he worked directly under Bevell during Seattle's most successful offensive stretch. They won together. They struggled together. They learned together. So that familiarity matters, right? Because this isn't about ego, right? This isn't about ego or power, struggles. Bevell knows how Canales operates. Okay, Canales knows exactly what Bevell brings to the table. So there's no like learning curve here. Why this helps Dave Canales specifically, getting a guy like this, okay? Getting a guy like this, why does it help Dave Canales specifically? Because Canales' job description is massive. He's the head coach, okay? He's the offensive architect. He's the play caller. He's made it clear he wants meaningful involvement with defensive special teams as well. That is a full plate. Too full at times, right? You got Brad Idzik, who has followed Canales from stop to stop, basically, again, been his right-hand man, or you could call him a puppy dog, whatever you want to call him. All right? And here's the thing. Provides continuity. He comes from the same coaching tree and background. Bevell does not. That matters more than people think. You add Bevell, that gives Carolina, number one, it gives you a second experienced voice in a weekly game planning. Okay? A weekly game planning. You get a veteran sounding board during in-game decision makings. You get fresh ideas that don't come from the same system lineage. I expect more variety. I expect probably some better sequencing. I expect fewer timing issues offensively. Okay? Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer came out with this. Let me see if I still have it saved. So here it is. So this is what Mike Kay said from right here. Initial report mentioned Mike Bell's worthwhile experience vote. Okay, basically. So what this says here says that former Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel probably isn't settling for a pass game coordinator gig. Neither is former Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan. However, someone who could make sense is former Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell. Canales worked under Bevell for several years in Seattle to know each other very well. Bevell also just spent the past 4 years working under McDaniel in Miami. He knows a thing or two about mid-zone and outside zone runs. Guess what? Canales already favors that, which we know that. We've talked about how he runs a zone offense, mid-zone, outside zone offense. Someone like former Las Vegas interim offensive coordinator Greg Olsen might make sense too. So interesting there. But what happened here is that then Bryce Young, whoever this is, associate head coach, what exactly? We will find out at the combine, but typically it's a title for a senior assistant with play design responsibility. Okay. So it sounds like to me that, again, and we'll get more into detail about what he's going to be. All right. We're going to talk about more what he's going to be, but I do want to be clear. Let's not forget where this Panthers offense ranked. Okay. Let's be clear. We made the playoffs, but the offense hasn't been good. In Canales' first season as head coach, we were 29th in total offense, 298 yards per game. We were 23rd in scoring, 20.1 points per game. 2025, we somehow was ranked higher, but we had less yards. So 295.6 yards per game and 27th in scoring, 18.3 points per game. So lower scoring, higher ranking in total offense, but yards were about 3 yards less. So it's weird. So I just know that situationally we struggled. Okay. We only converted 36.4% of our third downs this past season, right? We were 8th worst in the league in that. So the year before wasn't much better. All right. So these numbers don't scream sustainable contender, right? Even after that wild card loss against the Rams, guys, like Canales knows that changes were on the table, right? That's why people kept asking, is there a true player caller going to come in here, right? And now we're seeing it. He didn't commit to giving up play calling, but he openly said the staff would look ways to improve. I think this is that improvement. I think that hiring a guy like Darrell Bevell, right, is that improvement. Josh, what's good? Glenn Conley, what's good? Why didn't Canales make this hire earlier? That's a great question. One I cannot answer, Trizzy, but it is a great question. Maybe they were weighing their options. Maybe they were looking at guys. Right? I don't know. Why didn't they make a move like this earlier? I don't know. I have no idea why they didn't make this move earlier, but that is a great question. Right? But a move like this, it's like, what does it mean for Bryce Young for getting a guy like this? Right? What does it mean? I mean, this hire might benefit Bryce Young more than anyone. Again, Bevell has a strong track record with quarterbacks. I just mentioned it. Brett Favre, probably the most notable one. Russell Wilson, Tua Tagovailoa. But the two that are most notably to me, though, even though Brett Favre is a great one, but when you talk about Russell Wilson and Tua Tagovailoa, Young shares some stylistic similarities with both of those guys, right? The size limitations, the reliance on timing, right? Movement, decision rather than raw arm strength, right? Bevell spent the last several seasons helping Miami build one of the league's most efficient passing attacks. His experience as a quarterbacks coach and a pass game coordinator adds immediate value to Young entering in year 4. Yes, Jim Caldwell will still be part of the offensive leadership group as well, giving care, but that gives us a deep experience, brain trust around a young quarterback in Bryce Young. Yes, Josh, I know. I'm going to break it down to exactly what he's going to be doing. That's why you're here, Josh. That's why you're here. Stick around, buddy. I'm going to break it down here for you. That we're breaking it down front to back, man. Breaking this down front to back, all right? I want to make sure I don't leave anything missing when we talk about this. All right? I don't want anybody to misunderstand what this hire really means. Okay? George, what's good, man? Again, everybody in the chat, do me a favor, hit that thumbs button on the way in or on your way out. Okay, hit it up. See, boom, easy. It's just simple like this. Hit that thumbs up button real quick. Okay. Secondly, subscribe to the channel. Thirdly, tell me where you're from in the comments. Tell me where you're from in the comments. All right. Love to know where you guys are watching from tonight. All right. All right. So let's continue. I want to make this clear too, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't a Frank Wright situation. This isn't going to be a bloated staff with a clashing of egos, right? Frank Wright built an all-star coaching lineup and then held on to control as things unraveled. Canales is a different story, man. He is more of a collaborative, more flexible, more open-minded, outside influence type of guy. The fact that he brought in someone he trusts rather than someone he has to manage politically, to me, says a lot. So I'm going to be clear here real quick. One thing that Darrell Bevell changes, he does change some of the power structure of the Panthers offense. So let me be clear. We didn't change a play caller here. They absolutely changed who carries weight inside the offensive room, though, because Dave Canales is still going to call plays. Brad Idzik is still the offensive coordinator, but on paper, nothing shifted. In practice, everything did. So what's going to happen is Darrell Bevell didn't arrive in Carolina for a ceremonial title, right? As a associate head coach and offensive assistant, okay, or offensive specialist, sorry. He brings a level of experience and authority, like I said, that immediately alters internal dynamics, okay? What I mean by that is he has coordinated offense. He has developed quarterbacks. Hell, he won a Super Bowl, for Christ's sakes. He served as a head coach. So a lot of that matters. Brad Idzik has been alongside Canales, right? Basically his trusted lieutenant. Follow him stop to stop. But Idzik comes from the same coaching tree. And like I said earlier, Bevell does not. What Bevell does is bring that outside perspective, a different voice, a credibility, that natural carries influence, right? This doesn't mean that Bevell is overriding the play calls on Sunday. It doesn't mean, but it does mean he'll know how to shape things up. Basically, what he is going to be doing, chap, is he's going to be weekly game planning. He's going to be play designing, play sequencing, situational priorities, offensive identity. That is what he's here for. Mainly those four things. All right. Clewiston, Florida. Where is that? Or Clewiston, Florida? Where is that? I don't know where that is. I've never heard of that before. Murder Beach. I know where you are, Rock. Lenore. I know where you are, Josh. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Glenn's from the 252. Yeah. George says North Kakalaki, NC. Shout out to if there's any Tar Heel fans. Sorry for y'all's loss today, by the way. I saw Miami beat y'all. It's upsetting. So that's basically what he's going to be doing. He is going to be a play designer. Okay. He's basically going to be weekly game planning, play sequencing, quarterback development. I think he's going to have a part of that as well. Situational priorities, offensive identity. He's going to be taking some load off of course, Dave Canales in a lot of ways. All right. So that way, Dave can focus on what he wants to focus on, needs to focus on. This guy's going to be doing it. Jim Caldwell, obviously, Jim Caldwell's different. Jim Caldwell is still part of the offensive leadership group as well, right? He's part of it, but how much of it has he really been a part of? How much has he really been involved, I guess it's the question. And it's a great question to ask, Rock. I don't know how much he's been involved. Has he been involved? And maybe it hasn't been working. Luke, what's up, Luke? Appreciate you joining. Holly Springs, North Carolina. Nice. All right. Now, I think another thing we need to talk about here real quick is what this move says about Dave Canales' self-awareness as a head coach. Because this hire is less about Darrell Bevell to me than it is more. I feel like it's more about Dave Canales, if I'm being honest with you guys. Because when pressure builds, many head coaches tighten control. They delegate less. They listen less. They double down. Canales did the opposite. He looked at his workload and was just like, head coach, offensive architect, play caller, game manager, and recognized that, basically just said, this is unsustainable. And instead of waiting for failure, he added support early. So it's not really an insecurity thing or anything like that. I feel like this was a very mature move by Dave Canales. That shoulder shrug says it all, Clay. Jose Luis Barra Brumley. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but Kinley, North Carolina. Appreciate you, man. Recent Panthers regimes reacted late, we think about it. They made changes after things broke. Canales made a move before cracks turned into fractures. That's for sure. The best coaches don't try to be the smartest person in the room. They build rooms where, smart people are. That's what they do. They build rooms around the smart people. That's what they do. They build rooms where the smart people can challenge one another. I think this is what that hire represents. Again, Bryce Young's timeline, I think just got a little bit louder too with this, if we're going to be honest, chat. If you want to understand this hire, you got to look at the quarterback a little bit too, by bringing in Darrell Bevell as well. They're clearly signaling that Bryce Young is still their guy, but that evaluation window is really tightening, because we're talking about a guy that dealt with the Russell Wilsons and the Tua Tagovailoas of the world. And again, this could be a good thing for Bryce, like I said earlier. This is something that Bryce could benefit more than anyone, because of him having such a solid track record with quarterbacks, especially with the similarities, like I mentioned earlier, the size limitations, the reliance on timing, movement, decision-making, rather than that raw, strong arm, right? Bevell, again, you got to think about it, spent the last 3 seasons from 2022 to 2025, or is that 4 seasons? Whatever. 4 seasons, right? 3 to 4 seasons, whatever, in Miami. He was trying to build an efficient passing attack there. So his experience along the line, an assistant quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, right? Passing game coordinator, it brings immediate value to what Bryce Young is entering into year 4. But again, we cannot deny the fact, right, that evaluation window is tightening. But his profile fits Bryce Young. This is going to help Bryce Young, in my opinion, but it also removes, in my opinion, some excuses. Because if the offense improves, right, we will know why. If it doesn't, they have clarity they didn't have before. That makes 2026 feel less like a bridge year and more like a final evaluation stretch. This hire doesn't protect Bryce Young. What it's going to do, I think it's going to clarify him even more. Let's see what Trizzy came in and says, that what this hire tells me about Canales is that he needed some of the workload taken off his plate to focus on other areas of the team. Absolutely, Trizzy. Miss Douglas comes in and says, watching from Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to you out of Charlotte. Michael Hunt, hopefully his work with smaller quarterbacks will help have solved Dave's decision. Absolutely. Michael Hunt, appreciate you coming in, man. I think another thing is like if we're talking about another thing that we got to think about too, guys, is think about it this way: situational football. I think that's another real reason why they hired him. Think about it this way: our offense didn't fail because of the scheme. All right, it failed because of the moments. Think about it this way: the third downs, the red zone trips, those late game drives, the 2-minute situations. That's where Carolina came up short, right? Now, they converted just over 36% of third downs last season, but drives were often stalled after, some promising starts that we had. But then also our play calling, which you heard me preach about, became predictable when leverage mattered most. That's situational football. That's where Bevell has built his career, man. He isn't here to redesign the offense. He's here to fix how it operates when margins shrink as well, right? Better sequence, better decision-making, better feel. If you fix that this offense doesn't need to be explosive. It just needs to stop beating itself. But I think we're probably going to see something. There's guys with Darrell Bevell coming in. I think there's going to be a lot of guys who could benefit this. Him knowing how the speed that he used in Miami, when you've got guys like Xavier Legette and Jimmy Horn Jr., I think he's going to be able to use them in some interesting ways. They could really benefit these guys from that standpoint. What's up? Tre'Von says, hey, what's going on, Robstar? Have you heard of the conspiracy YouTubers? Some of them are saying Panthers next to go to the big game Super Bowl. DraftKings has us as one of the worst odds, which is funny. I have not heard that conspiracy, Super Tre'Von, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone's making up some interesting bullshit. Will that mean more rollouts or just get Bryce on the run? I mean, I'll say this. It's a great question, Glenn. I think that when you look at this type of hire, and let me dive more into it because that's a great question. King Rook, he's not calling plays. Again, I will list his demands real quick, what he's going to be doing. He is going to be weekly game planning. He's going to be designing plays. He's also going to be or play sequencing, whatever you want to call it. Either way, kind of the same thing. Situational priorities and the offensive identity. That is his job here. Okay, situational football is the real reason why they hired this guy. But also Bryce Young, right? But also Dave Canales knew that his workload was too much as well, right? I think this hire also signals a lot of stability for once. Since the Ron Rivera era ended, the franchise cycled through coaches, coordinators, philosophers, whatever you want to call it, half-formed rebuilds with your lovely Scott Fitterer. I know everyone still misses him. Psych. But that's why this move stands out, man. Like one hire, one adjustment, no overhaul. That's one. I'll say this. That's one thing that has been rare here in Carolina. But instead of tearing things down again, right, we reinforce what they already had. Continuity, right? Because continuity matters more than splash when you're trying to build something sustainable. I think stability isn't loud. It's boring, though. But for a franchise, boring might actually finally be progress. And, well, boring has gotten us as far as that. All right. I honestly think at this point, guys, Brad Idzik is just a guy who's is basically a intern. That's the way I look at Brad Idzik at this point. He is learning. That is basically it. I think he could probably be a wide receivers coach, right? Which seems like he could be. But other than that, I think he is just a fly on the wall or basically a sponge, and he is just soaking everything in at this point. He's basically he's I guess a puppet. I don't know, King Rook. I don't know. But let's think about it this way. Because speaking of Seattle, we got to think about this. The Seattle coaching tree is quietly running the Panthers. If you think about it. Because if the Panthers feel different lately, it isn't by accident. You got to think about it. Dave Canales, Seattle. Dan Morgan, Seattle. Darrell Bevell, all came from Seattle. They were all shaped by a culture built on adaptability, collaboration, and player development. This isn't about copy schemes. It's all about philosophy, right? Seattle bred coaches, right, who value process over panic or structure over shortcuts. That mindset has now been embedded through our leadership. So, again, that's also got something you got to think about. And here's the thing: if this works, let's talk about if this works. I think it can work. The best case, excuse me. The best case scenario is that this offensive climbs into the middle of the league. That is the best case scenario. Like our situational efficiency improves. Canales keeps play calling, but with better results because this guy is cooking it up, designing it up, structuring it up, right? I think most likely, too, I think our offense will look cleaner. I expect our offense to be more consistent without becoming explosive, like fewer wasted possessions is what I'm looking for, better late game management. And then again, the worst case scenario, because you always got to think about it, the offense stalls, right? The offense stalls, and Bevell's role expands quietly midseason. Pressure builds across the staff. Either way, this hire removes uncertainty, and then the clarity has value even when the answer isn't perfect. So, but let's talk about Dan Morgan though with this hire. You know, we've talked about Dave Canales, we talked about the offense, we talked about Bryce Young. Let's talk about Dan Morgan with this hire. Okay. Because this says a lot about our front office. And maybe it's patience. Because Dan Morgan said he wasn't going to force a change when he was asked about bringing in an OC or a play caller. Instead of demanding a new play caller or imposing a top-down solution, Dan trusted Canales to identify his own fix. So that just tells me how this organization is aligning right now, to be honest with you, chat. With everything. Why is this not showing? I wish that. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Post that right there. Whatever. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. All right. It's all good. But, you know, The line leadership tends to function better when than a busted leadership. I mean, Scott Fitter regime was like a fractured leadership. Power struggles, rush decision. Again, the way things feel is just so much calmer and just so much more intentional the way they're running this front offense. This front office, in my opinion. But again, this really to me tells me that this move isn't about scheme at all. Like this we don't need a new system. We need better execution, right? We need modern offenses in the NFL rarely fail because of playbooks. They fail because of poor timing, sloppy sequencing, chaotic processes, right? Bevell isn't here to reinvent the wheel of this offense. He's here to stabilize it. All right. This move is about reducing chaos for Dave Canales. Right? Chaos will kill any offense in the NFL, right? It's just as fast as bad design. All right. But you got to be realistic. I'll say this. My realistic expectation with this hire. Again, this hire isn't going to magically fix everything, right? Nobody on this channel who's watching right now, I do not want you to expect a top 10 offense. All right? A top 10 offense. Do not expect this to be a top 10 offense. But you should expect progress. Like visible, measurable, like right in front of your eyes progress. That looks like fewer stall drives, improved third down efficiency, cleaner red zone execution, smarter game management. That's what I want to see. Progress matters more than dominance, right? And credibility comes from patience, right? And I just think that this organization seems to understand that now. And that's why I love this hire. It's an interesting hire to me. We definitely got to draft well. That's for sure, Rob. I mean, you definitely got to draft well. Drafting, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Drafting is where, like, I look at it this way. All right. Drafting is where if you're trying to, there's two different mentalities. Okay. Like if you're in GM mode, right? If we're being in GM mode, there's two completely builds. There's aggressive now, and then there's that patient sustainability. Okay. But yes, the draft is where you build for the future, where you get better for sure. Free agency helps, but the draft is where everything begins and ends, in my opinion. So I agree. Well, we're going to talk about that tight end situation this week. I was going to actually talk about that tonight, but when this hire came through, I started digging more into this guy, digging in more into his role and what that associate head coach and offensive specialist and all that stuff really means. I was like, we got to dive into this today because it's I just think it's a very interesting hire. Morgan is mixing in his roots as a player and the front office knowledge he learned in Seattle. There's a clear path of what Morgan envisions. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. 43 people watching on YouTube. There's no reason why you silly little kids should not have 43 likes. All right. We got 44 people. We got 20 people slacking on the YouTube. Come on now. Come on now. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm over here dying because of my allergies. Ugh. I don't understand this weather, chat. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I don't know if it's like this and all the other people where West Columbia and all these other people in Charlotte, North Carolina, and all the people in the chat saying Fayetteville. How can it go from like 33 degrees in the morning and then it's 74 degrees, a 40 degrees difference in the afternoon? It don't make no damn sense, man. I'm over here dying because of my allergies. Good God. Sorry, I'm not trying to cough in the mic. I'm really not trying to cough at all. This weather's bipolar. I know. It's fucking insane. The facts that they got Panthers behind Saints and Falcons and Browns as worse odds is disrespectful. What do you think we got first chat presser? Oh, I'm not complaining about the 70 degrees temperature. It just, again, this weather can't make up its mind. That's all I'm saying. It's definitely disrespectful, Tre'Von. It's definitely disrespectful. Who do I think we got go first round, first draft? Well, if y'all want to do a mock draft, I'll do a 3-round mock draft. I'll do a 3-round mock draft. Seems like everybody keeps asking me to do a mock draft. I'm not doing a full 7-round. But I'll do a full first 3-round mock draft for you. Excuse me. Ooh. Should we do stick? Let's do stick to the model one, though. Let's do that instead. Instead of PFF. All right, let's get this pulled up. All right. We're just going to do 3 rounds. All right, should be good. Speed. We'll just leave it at that. All right, here we go. All right, hold on, pause. So we got Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson. Okay, hold on. Yeah, restart this draft. First off, how random do you fucking get with this thing? Obviously, too random. Now we're going back with PFF. That thing got, once I saw Ty Simpson as a Jets second overall pick, I was like, there ain't no way that's happening. Yeah, we're going back to PFF. Sorry about that. Crazy. Oh, wait, go back to the settings. All right, 3 rounds. All right, let's start it up. Dang, that was quick. All right, so what are we looking at? Fernando. Okay, this seems more realistic. I could see this actually happen. I don't know if Ruben Bain will go to them. That's quick. I could see. Well, okay. This is interesting. Spencer Fano is it an interesting candidate for me, chat? Because of the fact that we need tackle help. I've seen some mock drafts with him. Caden McDonald's an intriguing one. I've said it before with him. I've said it before with Caden McDonald. He's an interesting one for me because of what he can bring to the table on the inside. I mean, if we're looking, Caden Proctor's also a guy I'm interested in at the left tackle position because, again, when we talk about this, okay, if we're talking about the draft is either where you're going to get better or you're going to waste a year. Okay? I think that your first round pick has to be edge or offensive tackle, but that is going to be based off cold-heartedly what we do in March. So if left tackle is handled in free agency, you draft an edge. If left tackle is not handled in if left tackle is not being handled in free agency, you got to draft a offensive tackle, or you trade down and you still take an offensive tackle and edge, right? Again, edge is the biggest need by far. In my opinion, the edge is the biggest need by far. We talked about it on this channel last night. And I said, yes, I understand we were getting cooked over the middle of the field, whether it was a tight end or running back, whatever, from our linebackers. There is no doubt about that. But we cannot continue to let quarterbacks sit back there and be comfortable enough to cook us over the middle. Does that make sense? Because right now, what we have done constantly has allowed these quarterbacks to sit back there and absolutely cook us. Now, here's the thing. I'm a huge TJ Parker fan. I've taken him before. I'm also an Akeem Messador fan. Okay? I think he's got relentless effort. I think he's got great interior and outside flexibility. I like him a lot. I do. Part of me wants to go here. But see, I don't have pick till pick 51. That's why I'm thinking TJ Parker might be the guy I go here, because if I go linebacker, I might be able to get Jake Golday. If I'm able to get Jake Golday, that's great. I just don't know if he's going to be there at 51. I just don't know if he's going to be there at pick 51. All right. So for me, I've already done one with TJ Parker. I've done one with CJ Allen. Caleb Lemieux is also an interesting cat as well. I'm going to take TJ Parker. I just think you got to take TJ Parker. I think you just got to take TJ Parker, man. And the reason why I think you got to take TJ Parker there is just because you got to get an edge rusher. He showed out at the Senior Bowl. He had one of the strongest performances at the Senior Bowl. I think he's going to climb himself back into a potential late spot like that. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Jake Godell. Linebacker out of Cincinnati just fell right into my lap, as in Jake Golday, or Golday, I think is how you pronounce it. I mean, where do you think I'm going to go here? Duh. I'm a huge Jake Golday fan, ladies and gentlemen. Pass rush grade, I'm not the biggest worry about. Run defensive grade, hello. Coverage grade, I like it. Okay? I like it a lot. I do. Jake Golday is widely considered a day 2 prospect. Freakish athleticism. A lot of people are saying he ran a 4.25 in a short shuttle, and he has had top speed of 22.1 miles per hour, something crazy like that. He also could end up falling into the first round. I mean, 6'4", 240. I'm a huge Jake Golday fan. Reminds me of like a KJ Wright or a Quay Walker. That's what he kind of reminds me of. I think he's got a great range, a sideline to sideline speed, very versatile, can play edge, even though I know his pass rushing grade, but he can play Will, he can play Mike, he can play overhang and nickel rolls as well. So great flexibility from a schematic standpoint. Obviously tackling efficiency. Obviously you can tell he's a fundamentally sound tackler with only a 9% missed tackle. And he's had that basically, I think, across five seasons that he's played. That's the only issue for me, is he's a little bit older. Natural pass rushing instincts, though. All right. He does make him a dangerous situational blitzer, in my opinion. I do like him, though. So I'm going to take Jake Golday right here. I think this is the move. And honestly, if it depends who falls there. If I can get an offensive tackle here, I might even take him. Or I may take a tight end or a wide receiver. Or I might take another linebacker. Zachariah Branch just went off the board, so there goes my wide receiver I was thinking about. Let's see who's even here. Deion Burks, Antonio Williams. Wouldn't be mad at either one. Chris Brazel. I'm all right with that. Tight ends, who we got? Justin Jolly's nice. I'm a big Justin Jolly fan. Don't forget. Don't sleep on my boy. Don't sleep on my boy Tanner Kozel. 6'7". He good. Don't sleep on him. Lomax was good. Well, he just said we may fix it in free agency. We'll see. We'll see. Moton was a round 2 pick. Definitely would not have a problem with TJ pick, especially if we sign a couple linebackers in free agency. I'm just going based off of what happens in March. Like, I mean, right now we don't know. The mock. See, here's the thing about doing mock drafts so early. It's so hard to pick because of the combine's not done, number one. And number two, also because you don't know what we've done in free agency yet, right? What we're going to do. So, but they're fun to do still. They're still fun to do. Appreciate you, Carolina Rory. Appreciate you. Lomax was good. Dream 58. I appreciate you joining. Nervous, my guys. It's been a while. I'm glad you're in here as well. Timmy 5. I went to school with Brazel. Nice. All right. So, I mean, we've got an edge rusher. We've got a linebacker. Do we look at a linebacker again? God damn. Two of my guys. God, and York is right there. Dude, I'm all high. I love me some Kyle Lewis. I love me some Jacob Rodriguez. And I got York. Shit, you go back-to-back linebackers right there. Giddings Dunkert. All right. Oh, Darrell Jackson Jr. Don't sleep on Darrell Jackson Jr., guys. If you know, you know. What safeties do I got? Oh, Zakeem Wheatley, Bud Clark. I actually just got done watching this guy play. Bud Clark. I just got done watching him his film. And man, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. This kid is an absolute stud. The only problem with this kid is that he played 6 years in college ball. But he's 6'1", 190 pounds. Reminds me of like a Marcus Williams. Okay. He's got this ability to bait quarterbacks. He can get to the high point of the football. I think he has a total of 15 career interceptions in college football, his college football lifetime. He can excel as a nickel slot or roles. High football IQ, route recognition, communication skills, right? Had a huge standout at the Senior Bowl as well. So I'm a huge fan of Bud Clark. Keep an eye out on him. This could be a guy that we may go after, maybe in the later rounds to add to our safety room. I think right here, this is tough. See, yeah, I'm not taking Mark Bell at 107. Brian Parker, I'm not taking him either right now from a value standpoint. Interior lineman. I could take Caleb Rutledge, but I don't need a right guard. Jalen Farmer, not really. Might be an interesting Devin Moore. I'm not a fan of Devin Moore, not really. I do need to watch more film on Devin Moore, though. I might just go back-to-back linebackers here, but I don't know. I might pick a fun pick here. Let me look at something real quick. I'm gonna look something up on Chris Brazel real quick. I need to get a better understanding of this kid. Let me get a scouting report on him. I need to watch some of his. Deion Burks, I've already watched a little bit of. Let me look at NFL Draft Boss. Let me get a little something on this kid real quick. NFL draft style. What do we know about Chris Brazel? All right. What do we know about him? They got him highly ranked, that's for sure. He's a 6'5", runs a 4.52. He isn't a burner. Damn. He is he's tall as shit, though. Antonio Williams. Where is... I think Deion Burks runs a faster 40 time, if I'm not mistaken. I was hoping maybe Zachariah Branch would fall down there. Deion Burks is interesting. I think I'd rather take Deion Burks. But I also wouldn't mind a good tight end. So you know what? I'll take Justin Jolly. We'll take Justin Jolly right here. Screw it. But I got a little better understanding of Chris or Mr. Braswell. I'll definitely have to check him out. Okay, come on, PFF. Don't screw me. This can't be that bad. Might be good, might be bad. Might be good, might be good, maybe shit. Maybe shit might be good. It's A- for the TJ Parker pick. A-, got a P+. If I would have taken Malachi Fields, they would have given me a bigger score. But Justin Jolly's a stud, man. Justin Jolly's another tight end that I like a lot, who's a big-ass tight end. I think he's like 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. So it's a fun little mock draft. We'll do some more. Once March comes around after free agency, I think this year I'm really going to be hammering more of the mock drafts just because I want to really see what we're going to do this year. But if this was my draft right now, I would not be mad at that. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream tonight, man. Again, shout out to you guys in the chat. Appreciate everyone showing up. We got a live stream tomorrow, by the way. 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. I will be on CJ's channel, Mr. GM himself, Armchair GM CJ. Me and him have been talking in the background. He invited me onto his channel at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. We're going to be apparently we're going to be doing some GM. He's going to be picking my brain, and I guess I'll be picking some of his brain as well. So I think we're going to be over there at 8 p.m. on his channel. Maybe we'll stream it over here as well. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to be doing some GM work tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST. All right. CJ Armchair GM. I think his channel is, I think that's what it's called, right? Guys, there's also 48 people watching, 33 likes. All right. Get those likes up. 15 slackers, man. 15 slackers. Yeah, Carolina's Armchair GM CJ. We're going to be on his channel at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat again. 15 of you are slacking on the YouTube channel. Get those likes up. All right. We got 33 likes. There was 49 people watching. So 16 of you are slacking. Get them up. All right. Other than that, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow on CJ's channel. And other than that, we got more content coming out to you tonight. So stay tuned. I'm going to have some sports coming out to you guys here shortly. So shout out to everybody again. Love you guys. Be safe. And as always, keep pounding. God bless. Peace.